In 1976, East Africa came dangerously close to a war no one saw coming. Uganda's ruler, Idi Amin, unpredictable, charismatic, and feared.
I am not a politician, but a professional soldier. There is freedom of speech, but I cannot guarantee freedom after speech.
Suddenly turned his eyes towards Kenya. He claimed Kenyan land, demanded surrender, and nearly dragged the region into conflict. But behind Amin's aggressive posture lay a complicated mix of colonial history, political ambition, and a daring foreign mission that shook him to the core. The Entebbe raid. This is the story of why Amin wanted to invade Kenya, how Kenyatta responded, and how East Africa stepped back from the edge of war. Amin's anger towards Kenya began with a sudden announcement. He declared that colonial boundaries from the early 1900s placed a large part of Kenya, stretching as far as Naivasha, within Uganda's rightful territories. He insisted he was merely correcting colonial injustice, but his motives were far deeper than maps. Amin wanted political distraction. Uganda was collapsing economically. Regional dominance. He saw himself as East Africa's new strongman. Personal pride. He believed colonial powers had cheated Uganda, and he wanted to look powerful on the global stage. So, with confidence and bravado, he called on Kenya to surrender the land, peacefully, or else. Jomo Kenyatta was aging, but his government was not weak. When Amin's demand reached Nairobi, Kenyatta and his cabinet responded swiftly. Kenya mobilized the army, reinforcing positions along the Ugandan border. Air Force jets patrolling visibly in the skies. Government communication assuring citizens not an inch of land will be surrendered. Vice President Daniel Arap condemned Amin's aggression. Attorney General Charles Njonjo went further.
He is reckless, unstable, and a danger to East Africa.
Kenya was calm but ready. Amin doubled down. He declared to the world that Uganda was ready to take the land by force. He spoke passionately about restoring Uganda to its true boundaries. But beneath the loud speeches, the truth was different.
Than PhDs. As a military man, I know how to act. I am a man of action.
Uganda's military was poorly equipped, disorganized, stretched thin from internal violence. Still, tension grew. The world held its breath. Behind the scenes, diplomacy worked quietly into action. African leaders, alarmed by the prospect of a regional war, urged restraint. Intelligence reports trickled in, and slowly it became clear that Amin's claim was not the strategic military plan, but one of his characteristic bursts of bravado.
Ladies and gentlemen, we must address the critical issues at hand with urgency and unity.
Then something happened that turned the border dispute from a political gamble to a personal vendetta. On July 4th, 1976, the skies of Africa roared with one of the boldest rescue missions in history, the Entebbe raid. A hijacked aeroplane full of hostages had landed in Uganda. Amin didn't just allow the hijackers to use the Entebbe airport. He endorsed them. He visited the hostages, declared himself the uncrowned king of Scotland, and separated Israelis and Jews from the rest. For 1 week, 106 hostages Mostly Israelis and Jews were held in the old terminal under Ugandan guard. But Amin's gamble was more than just ideology. It was about power, prestige, and defiance, especially towards Kenya, which had quietly refused to support him. But Israel struck back with a daring night operation. On the night of July 3rd, just 1 week after the hijacking, Israel launched Operation Thunderbolt. In a daring 90-minute raid, commandos flew 2,500 miles, landed at Entebbe, rescued 102 hostages, and killed all the hijackers and dozens of Ugandan soldiers. The mission succeeded spectacularly. And in that moment, Idi Amin's pride was shattered. Uganda was exposed and Amin was humiliated, and he was furious. Amin erupted in rage.
We shall retaliate, not just against Israel, but against all who aided them, including Kenya.
He accused Kenya of betrayal. He vowed revenge, and he revived his claim on Kenyan land with new intensity. For Amin, the Entebbe raid wasn't just a military embarrassment. It was a personal insult.
Come on, let's go!
Ugandan troops moved towards the border. Radio Uganda broadcast warnings day and night. Amin promised to reclaim stolen Ugandan territories.
The situation is critical. We must act decisively.
God was not a fool to have allocated this land to Uganda. We have to reclaim our land.
This time, he meant it. Panic spread. Kenyan schools near the border closed. Families moved inland. But in State House, Nairobi, Jomo Kenyatta remained still.
Kenya has no claims over anybody's territory. But we will not tolerate anyone playing about with our sovereignty.
Kenyatta's response was firm and unwavering. Kenyatta understood Amin was wounded and not strong. The Entebbe raid had exposed Uganda's military weaknesses. Satellite photos showed Ugandan defenses never fired as the Israelis' planes came and went. So Kenya responded not with war, but with calculated clarity. 3 moves, swift and silent. 1. Military readiness. Kenya doubled border patrols, activated reserves, and crucially, let journalists photograph soldiers drilling. Not aggression, deterrence. 2. Diplomatic isolation. Kenya shared intelligence with Tanzania and the OAU, proving Amin had protected terrorists. Even Gaddafi distanced himself. The final message on July 12th, Kenyatta gave a rare nationwide address.
We do not seek war, but let no one mistake our peace for weakness. Kenya's borders are sacred. Our unity is stronger than any threat.
Kenya received silent support from Western nations. Grateful to Kenya for helping Israel's mission, Attorney General Charles Njonjo delivered the sharpest warning of all.
Any violation of Kenyan territory would be an act of war.
Kenya was calm but ready. And Amin knew it. Despite days of loud threats and military posturing, war never came. 3 forces stopped Amin. 1. Kenyan forces were better trained, better equipped, and more disciplined. Amin understood the risk. A war could turn disastrous for Uganda. 2. Amin's global reputation was in ruins. African leaders, the OAU, and international allies urged him to calm down. They feared a regional conflict. 3. The economy was failing. Amin's army was stretched thin. Rebellions were growing. Supplies were running out. Launching a full war with Kenya would have been suicidal. So, slowly, quietly, Amin backed down. Kenyan forces remained on guard, but the threat faded. East Africa stepped back from the brink of war. Just 3 years later, Amin's rule collapsed. He fled Uganda, never to return to power. But the memory of his attempted claim over Kenya remains a powerful reminder of how fragile peace can be, how dangerous pride can become, and how close East Africa once came to a devastating conflict that never happened. See you on the next one. Stay blessed.